To ignore or not to ignore? That is the question. Hi everyone, it's me, David, with High Performance Stoicism, and I'm talking about ignoring things that are not up to us. The Stoics give us different options for how to deal with the things that are not up to us, and ignoring it is an underappreciated one, as you'll see in this video. One thing that I've talked about in previous videos is that in 2020, I had Diplopia, or double vision, and the case was very serious, and when I learned that my eyesight might never recover, I might never see single objects as unitary single objects again, it was quite a frightening thing. Now, one way that I dealt with this is by ignoring that I had the problem. And I thought in previous videos that I was clear enough about what I meant and what to ignore and when to ignore it, but I guess I wasn't as clear as I could have been. So my friend Jamila said, David, why don't you explain where to ignore and where not to ignore something like a persistent problem? And I should stress here that I am talking about things of wider application than just my illness last year, which thankfully I've recovered from. And you could apply it to something like the cold out. It's winter. One way you could deal with something that is not up to you, how cold it is by ignoring the issue. Of course, I would say, well, you should dress quite warmly because you don't want to get a cold, you don't want to get frostbite, you do not want to die. So let's clarify what I mean by ignoring what is not up to you with regard to a persistent health problem. Remember for the Stoics that health is an indifferent, meaning, as the Stoics put it, the sage would be indifferent to whether he is healthy or whether he is sick. In other words, since it's not bad to be ill and it's not good to be healthy, your attitude toward either state would be one of indifference. Of course, you should always try to be healthy, and that's why health is called a preferred indifferent. What this means is that by the nature of what we are as human beings, health is one of the things that enables us to have the conditions for developing our character. But it is not good in itself, and you can think of somebody who is a healthy criminal as showing that, well, health can be used poorly or it can be used well. So in my case, and I did cover this in another video of don't ignore it, I would say don't ignore that you have an illness. Go to the doctor. Why? Because it's rational to do so. And people accuse Stoicism of being irrational when they say that health is not good and illness is not bad. You could say we're talking about two separate value systems. One that you might say are absolute, good and bad. Virtue is good, and vice is bad. And on a much, much lower level, there's all the indifference. The preferred things like a good reputation, health, wealth, by their nature and by the nature of the beings that we are, you should aim for these, but none of them are good. Or you could say they're not good in themselves. And you should also avoid sickness. You should also avoid poverty. You should also avoid a bad reputation, but not because it's bad in itself. It's just given the nature of beings that we are, the kinds of creatures that humans are, your life can go on in a better way if you are healthy, you have some wealth, and you have a good reputation. So the key thing for me, and it enabled me to be quite productive during this whole period, what you don't want to do is to be thinking about being sick, having double vision, or if you have COVID, don't think about it all the time. And it's interesting because some people say, David, you're wrong. Don't ignore your health or don't ignore the illness. And I would say, if you take this literally to mean never ignore your health, then what are you saying? You're saying that if you have COVID and you feel like death, you feel horrible, weak, and you can't breathe, that person is telling you you shouldn't enjoy a TV program because then you will be ignoring your bad health. And I know that you're not intending to say that, but besides talking about things such as whether to ignore or not in a context that people can generally understand, when we talk about philosophy, we have to talk about what do we mean precisely. When someone says, I will not ignore my bad health, I would say, I think I know what you're getting at, but do you really want to say that under no circumstance will you ignore your bad health? And I'm sure they would say, well, of course you can do other things like watch a TV program, do a puzzle, talk with a friend, and in that case, ignore your health. And I would say, I'm going to agree with you then. Yes, ignore your bad health as much as you can so that you can be productive and you're not thinking about it all the time. That would be a really bad way to approach it. Well, I hope this cleared up some things, and keep the comments coming because it's helping me to clarify the ideas for you. And like, subscribe, check out what I do below, and have a great day. It's up to you.